those carts! Faster, men! The tide waits for no one! Secure that block before it slips!
When we think of ancient Rome, we imagine emperors in marble halls, gladiators beneath a roaring crowd, and legions marching under the crimson banner of the eagle. But beyond the empire's glory and conquest, there was another Rome, quieter, more ingenious, a civilization built not only with power, but with science. This is the story of the hidden engineers of Rome. Men and women who built the impossible centuries before the modern world even understood how. In the summer heat of 19 BCE, Roman workers stood knee-deep in the mud of an unfinished harbor. Carts full of volcanic ash and lime waited beside the sea. A foreman shouted orders, and slowly, rhythmically, the men began to mix ash, lime, and seawater, a strange combination that would outlast empires. What they were making was opus caementicium, Roman concrete, a material so advanced that it could heal itself. When cracks formed, seawater seeped in, reacted with the volcanic ash, and created new minerals that sealed the wounds. Modern scientists would rediscover this secret 2,000 years later, realizing that Roman concrete was not only stronger than ours, it was alive. The Romans didn't have laboratories, but they had something better: observation. They learned by watching nature itself, how stone hardened after rain, how heat transformed ash, how the earth itself taught them chemistry. From the foggy forests of Britain to the golden sands of Syria, Rome built over 250,000 miles of roads, the arteries of an empire. Their surveyors, using nothing but wooden tools and ropes, achieved precision modern engineers still admire. Each road had layers: large stones for drainage, gravel to absorb pressure, sand to stabilize, and perfectly cut paving slabs on top. They even built the roads with a slight curve to let rainwater run off. A small detail, but one that has kept many Roman roads intact for over 2 millennia. It wasn't luck, it was engineering genius born from necessity. They understood something timeless, that civilization moves on good roads. All roads lead to Rome, they said, and every one of them was a triumph of science. By the 3rd century BCE, Rome faced a problem: water. A growing population needed a constant, clean supply, and so the Romans built rivers in the sky, the aqueducts. Flowing for miles across mountains and valleys, these channels carried millions of gallons of water each day, powered only by gravity. The gradient was so precise, less than an inch per 100 feet, that if it was too steep, the water would burst through, and if too flat, it would stop. Without lasers, without electricity, they achieved millimeter-perfect accuracy using simple tools and shadows of the sun. Some aqueducts, like the Pont de Gard in France, still stand today, as graceful as they are powerful, proof that Roman engineering wasn't just about function, but also beauty. Beneath the city, a hidden maze of lead and terracotta pipes carried water to fountains, baths, and even private homes. Rome, in its peak, supplied fresh water to over 1 million people, something no other civilization achieved until modern times. Among all their creations, none captured Roman genius better than the Pantheon. A perfect sphere of concrete and light, 142 feet across, 142 feet high. The dome, still the largest unreinforced concrete dome in the world, stands uncracked after 2,000 years. How? Because they understood the physics of weight distribution. They used heavier concrete with basalt at the bottom and lighter pumice at the top. At its center, the oculus, a perfect circular opening, reduces pressure and floods the temple with sunlight. When rain falls through the oculus, it drains invisibly through the marble floor, a perfect harmony of form and function. Michelangelo once said, "It is angelic, not human." He was right. To the Romans, architecture was not just construction, it was philosophy made stone. While the rest of the ancient world huddled around fires, Romans walked barefoot on warm marble. They had invented central heating, the hypocaust. Hot air from a furnace flowed under raised floors and through hollow walls, turning entire buildings into radiant chambers of warmth. The system was so precise that some villas had adjustable vents to control temperature. In the great public baths, thousands of citizens relaxed in rooms kept at a perfect heat balance, calculated through nothing but experience and logic. 2,000 years before modern HVAC systems, the Romans had already mastered climate control. Rome's engineers didn't stop at roads and domes. They built machines, powerful, elegant, and efficient. Massive wooden cranes, powered by men walking inside tread wheels, lifted stones weighing several tons. They built watermills, entire industrial complexes like the one at Arles in France, grinding enough grain to feed an army. Each wheel turned the next in a cascading design, creating continuous mechanical motion, a concept that wouldn't be reinvented until the Industrial Revolution. To the Romans, nature itself was an ally. Water, wind, and muscle, all part of one living system of motion and balance. Its streets followed planned grids designed for airflow and sunlight. The Cloaca Maxima, one of the world's first sewage systems, carried waste safely out to the Tiber River, and parts of it still function today. Crowds poured through the Colosseum, 50,000 people entering and exiting in minutes thanks to its radial design and layered corridors. Public safety wasn't an afterthought, it was architecture. From fire brigades to water pressure management, every aspect of the city was calculated. Rome wasn't chaos, it was order made stone. Vitruvius, Rome's greatest architect, once wrote that every structure must have three qualities: strength, utility, and beauty. And that idea, born in ancient Rome, became the foundation of modern architecture. Roman engineers didn't separate science and art. They saw both as parts of one truth, the harmony between the human mind and the natural world. Their science wasn't abstract, it was applied. They didn't just imagine ideas, they tested them, built them, and refined them until the results were perfect. They were not just builders, they were experimenters, centuries ahead of their time. In 2023, a team of MIT scientists studied ancient Roman concrete under the microscope and found something astonishing. Tiny white chunks inside the material, once thought to be flaws, were actually hot mixed lime clasts. When water entered a crack, these lime particles reacted, sealing the damage. Roman concrete could heal itself. It wasn't superstition, it was material science, 2,000 years before modern chemistry. Today, engineers are reviving Roman recipes to build sustainable cities and reduce carbon emissions. Once again, the ancients are teaching the future how to endure. Walk through any modern European city, London, Paris, or Rome, and beneath the asphalt, you'll find the bones of Roman roads. Their stones still bear the marks of cartwheels that rolled 2 millennia ago. Their arches still stand, their bridges still span rivers, their cities still breathe. The Romans didn't build for decades, they built for eternity. And maybe that's the greatest secret of all, that their true monument was not the empire,
but the science that built it. A science born from patience, curiosity, and the belief that nature and human ingenuity are one. When the last steel tower of the modern world finally crumbles, perhaps a fragment of Roman stone will still remain, whispering through time, "We built for eternity."